Hey y'all, it's week 27 of season 3 of the Andy Griffith Show. This week's episode title is Barney's First Car. Barney, tell us about your first car.
Well, I come in the courthouse in a real good mood one morning, and Andy wants to know why. Then I show him $300 cash that I just got at a nice savings account. And I tell him I'm gonna buy a car. I'm gonna get myself an automobile. I'm gonna live a little. It's about time I had a car of my own. From now on, I am Mr. Independent Wheels. So I start looking in the classified ads, and after a while, I find just the right one. And I read it to Andy. Aged widow must sell beautifully maintained, low-mileage car. One owner, 1954 Ford sedan, has been driven only to church on Sundays and once a year to Aunt Martha's on Thanksgiving.
So you call the owner and ask her to bring it over so you can look at it.
And while Andy and I are waiting, I tell him this is the biggest decision I've made since I got my parents a new septic tank for their anniversary. And then the car pulls up, and I introduce myself to the owner, Mrs. Lesh. And it's obvious that she's taking good care of it. And she says her late husband wanted her to make sure the car got a good home. And I want to buy it on the spot, but Andy tells me I ought to have it looked at by a mechanic. And then Mrs. Lesh says that too.
But you say no, you want to buy it now because you're so impressed with her and with it. And Andy says he thinks $100 is a fair price because that car is nearly 10 years old. And you take him to the side and tell him that's an insult.
And then Mrs. Lesh tells me that the debts from her husband's death are around $300 and that her husband's name was Bernard. And I say, Bernard, that was your husband's name? That's my name. They call me Barney, but that's just a nick for Bernard. Let's make the deal right here and now. Here's $300 even. And she says she'll have to mail me the ownership certificate. And Andy thinks that's strange that she doesn't have it on her. But I say that's perfectly all right. And then she walks off to neat her ride back home. And I say, don't look back, Mrs. Lesh.
But then the audience sees her tell the guy that picks her up that she just unloaded another clunker to the sucker of the world.
Well, I don't know that yet. And I take folks for a ride in my new car. And I say, everybody, let's get this ride started. I want to distribute the weight even, so she'll ride smooth. Now, Aunt Dee and Golder and Ultie, you sit in the back seat. And now for the front seat. I'll drive. Thelma Lou and Andy, you sit in the front seat next to the driver. And then I had trouble starting the car, and everybody says they smell gas. And I go, all right. Of course you smell gas. What do you think this car runs on? Coal? And then we get it started and we drive off. And soon it starts making noise, and then something falls off, and then the steering column comes out at me, and then it overheats.
And then you all get some more water for it, which fixes it temporarily and gets it running for a while. But then it makes more noise further down the road and dies completely, and you all have to push it back to town.
And we get Wally to look at it, and then Golder comes over and tells us that Wally got it running again, but that it needs pretty much everything on it replaced. And then he has Golder show us some sawdust that come out of the differential, which is an old car hustler's trick to make worn-out gears feel smooth for a while. And Andy says that's enough evidence to go back to Mrs. Lesh in Mount Pilot to get my money back. Then on the way there, the car breaks down again. And Andy has to go call Gomer to come tow us away. And then he comes back to wait with us, and we both fall asleep in the car.
But then before Gomer can get there to tow you away, another guy comes with a different tow truck and tows you off. He's the guy that's been working with Mrs. Lesh and finding old cars and taking them and selling them as good cars. And he takes you all right to where Mrs. Lesh has been working out of.
So we wake up, and we see where we are, and I took my bullet and my gun, and we get out of the car and wait for Mrs. Lesh and her dummies to come out. And then we jumped out, and I yell, all right, you've had it. You didn't think you were fooling anybody, did you, Mrs. Lesh? Dear husband, Bernard, never over 25 miles an hour. Now, really. So I get my money back, and I answer another ad the next day. And I'm real suspicious of this next little old lady, and I talk real rough to her, But it turns out she's on the level.
Well, good. We'll see you next week for episode 28.